Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Rolf. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. How are you all?
Good, good, good.
Ivo, how are you? Long life, Ivanovich.
Thank you, Rolf.
Ivanovich, please give me your mom Hebrew name as a bliff.
Daniela, Bela,
Daniela.
Bela,
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, Daniela Bela Bat.
Yaakov Ruvain.
Yaakov Reuven.
Huh?
And also her sister's the same day, her older sister.
Doesn't matter.
Give it to me.
Shulamit.
Shulamit. Yeah.
Then Yaakov Ruvain.
But
Bat
yeah.
Yaakov Ruvain.
But she doesn't have a second name?
No.
Okay. No problem.
There must be something in that. That the oldest
Yeah.
and the younger sister have the same yortzeit.
Definitely.
You'll find me the reason.
Now you telling me, you should tell me earlier, I would prepare it. Now I don't know about that. But I look
come on,
then I'll come. Who else with us? Louis with us. I see Mart with us. Hello, Marky. Who else with
Hello,
us?
Rob.
Hilton. Gabriel
Hello,
with us.
Louis.
And who's that? John.
Mark, you're the
Fong?
light of the shiur.
Who's that?
What?
John. June.
Mark Schenker.
Okay, joining us. Who else joining us? We'll give another few minutes for more people to join, and then Be'ezrat Hashem will start the show. Yeah.
Okay. Then we need to call Mark Orchaim.
What we need to call? What did you say, Ivan?
Hey, Rov.
Yeah. I'm listening. Sorry, I missed you. What did you say, Ivan? Ivan, I missed you.
Don't be shy. Tell the Rov what you just said.
I think that his internet stuck. I think that he's maybe they have communication problem. Who else joined us? Hello, Ivan Snowick.
Hello. Hello. It's Anthony Fairman. How are you?
Oh, Shalom Aleichem, Antonio. It's so nice to hear your voice. We missed you for a few showing.
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, thank you and you. How's
Here's
everyone?
Gordon. Here's Gordon.
Hello, Mr. Gordon.
Hello, Rabbi. Nice to see you.
It's nice to hear you, Mr. Bennett. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I just want to wish you the best Shabbos ever.
To you too. Thank you very much, Mr. Gordon Bennett.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
pleasure. We're going to start with the shiur. Those that want to join, they're going to join us just now because we are already 4 minutes behind. So I'm going to mute everyone. Louis, you're going to unmute yourself after I do the summary on the Parsha.
Correct.
So בעזרת
Yeah.
השם, נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירביח. Muting everyone.
Well done, Gordon.
All mute. Yeah, בעזרת השם, נעשה ונצליח. So, השיעור יהיה לעילוי נשמת. We're going to dedicate the shiur in honor of Esther Kaden Bat Ketzia, Mordechai Ben Rahma, that's our friend Moti, the late Moti Bafri, Harav Avraham Haim Ben Eliezer Yaakov, that's our Rabbi Tenza, Tamar Bat Zehava, Rachel Bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon Ben Farha, Dvora Ruth Bat Beila, Haim Eliyahu Ben Ishayahu, that's Eli Klivi, our friend Eli Klivi, that used to come quite often to our shiurim. And Leilui Nishmat Daniela Bela Bat Yaakov Reuven and Shlomit Bat Yaakov Reuven, that tonight is the Yotzeit. So please God that the word of Torah will uplift the neshama to a higher level that they deserve. Now we're going to dedicate the shiur to all of those sick people amongst the Jewish people, and all of those Jewish that we don't know that injured, לרפואת ליאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרינה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב משה בן דבורה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, משה בן יהודית, יוסף בן אסתר, חנה שרה בת דבורה, דבורה בת אסתר, שלמה פנחס בן שינה פישה, חונה טוביה בן חיים שאול זליג, ותשילה בת סוניה ושושנה בת דבורה, בעזרת השם רפואה שלמה to them, and all חולי ופצועי עמו ישראל בכל מקום שהם. Okay, so we in Parashat Eikev, believe it or not, we already on a third parsha, Rabotai, on a third parsha in the book of Dvarim. Look how time flying. It's beyond understanding how the time flies. So I'm going to do a summary so it will help us to understand what's happening on the parsha. So when we talk about it, it's easier to relate to the parsha. At the beginning of the parsha, Moshe tells the Jewish people that they're obligated to observe the mitzvot. By that, observing the mitzvot, they will merit to receive all the blessing that there is in the Torah, spirituality and physicality. Later on, Moshe Rabbeinu continue answering in the heart of Bnei Israel and tell them not to be afraid from conquering the land of Eretz Israel, and not to be afraid from the people that live in Eretz Israel, those nations. And they must have to understand and they must remember that the Almighty, He's the one that fights for them, the same like He done for them in Egypt. When He redeemed them from Egypt, HaKadosh Baruch Hu fought for them. And that's what we say, V'Hashem nilham lachem. Later on, Moshe Rabbeinu continue and command Bnei Israel when they enter the land of Eretz Israel, they're obligated to destroy, to burn all kind of idols that there is in the land of Eretz Israel, okay? And they must observe the mitzvot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By that they will observe the mitzvot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they will blessed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu and receive all the abundance and the goodness from the Almighty. After that, Moshe Rabbeinu tell Bnei Israel that the main reason that they merit to inherit the land of Eretz Israel, okay, it's not because they merit, because they were such righteous, it's because the merit of our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and the mothers. The mothers he didn't mention, but I'm adding it up and we'll speak about it in the show. We'll see how is it mentioned without the name. So I'm gonna add it up just now. When we get to it, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll show how is it mentioned the 4 mothers. Okay. Later on, it said that Moshe Rabbeinu tell Bnei Israel and ask them that they must fear from the Almighty, they love the Almighty, and to observe the mitzvot of the Almighty and to worship Him with a full heart. Okay, after that, towards the end of the Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu actually remind the Jewish people all what the Almighty done for them by that if they will observe the mitzvot, they will merit to inherit the land of Eretz Israel, but has v'shalom, if not, they're not going to merit to inherit the land of Eretz Israel. So we see from here that it's all again rebuking. Moshe Rabbeinu giving them a boost, but also rebuke Bnei Israel and prepare them for the entering of Eretz Israel and giving them the right tools, what to do, how to manage to inherit the land of Eretz Israel. Okay, in Parashat Eikev, there are 6 positive commands and there is 2 negative commands. That's Parashat Eikev. And now we're going to start the Parsha. We are in chapter 7, Parashat Eikev, chapter 7, verse 12. That's where the Parsha starts. I'm going to read. והיה עקב תשמעון את המשפטים האלה. ושמרתם ועשיתם אותם, ושמר אדוני אלוהיך לך את הברית ואת החסד אשר נשבע לאבותיך. בכבוד.
This shall be the reward when you hearken to these ordinances, and you will observe and perform them. Hashem, your God, will safeguard you for you the covenant of his kindness that he has sworn to your forefathers.
Okay. The Parsha starts with the word Vehaya, end. But the word Vehaya, we have to understand what it means and why Dafka Vehaya. So Hazal is Hachamenu Zichronam Livracha, our sages, tell us something very important in Midrash Rabbah on Sefer Bereshit in chapter 42, verse 3. And they teach us a very important principle. It says, wherever the word Vehaya, referring to joy and happiness. Compared to what we say that Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Megillah in page 10, folio 2. What does it say? That there is another word that if it say opposite to Vehaya, what is the word that we saying that it's the Megillah start? How's the Megillat Esther start? No, Rabotai? Help me. Vayehi b'imei Hashverosh, you remember? Vayehi, Hazal tell us that referring to sadness. But Vehaya referring to joy and happiness. And many of the Mefarshim ask, wait, what are you talking here about happiness? So according to the Pshat of the Dvarim, listen to the Pshat of the Dvarim, Hazal say when Bnei Israel will enter to Eretz Israel, they will be in joy, but they will be in happiness. That's the Pshat of the Dvarim. But I saw another beautiful thing. I'm going to bring few commentary today just about that. That brought by Rabbi Avraham Chaim Mizlotov. And he born in Poland 295 years ago. In his book, Orach L'Chaim, okay, A Way of Life, he explained that in the end of days, what it means the end of days, is Hazal tell us, Be'ikvita demshiha. Ikvita demshiha is in Aramaic, I will translate it. Ikvita demshiha, it means that before the Mashiach come, or what we call it, Havle Mashiach. Havle Mashiach is the pain birth of coming of the Mashiach, okay? When every Jewish person, bli yotze min haklal, every Jewish person will have a lot of tests, a lot of difficulties in his life, a lot of challenges. And still, with all the challenges, with all the difficulty, he will still hold strong and will keep the mitzvot and follow the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That will be a great happiness and a heaven. And that's what it means, Vehaya. Vehaya, say, Rabbi Avraham Chaim Mizlotov, you know when's the happiness going to be? When all of those challenges going to have, a person going to have so much challenges in the end of days, just before the Mashiach comes. And with all of those difficulties, with all different chores that he have, he will still continue to believe in the Almighty, will still keep the mitzvot, he will still look after the Almighty. That means that everything in his life is looking to the Almighty. Everything for him is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's going to be a great simcha in heaven. When there is so much change, look today, everything is chaos in the world. In the northern hemisphere, people get boiling hot. They don't know what hit them. In China, in England, in India, flooding. The world's going upside down. And this plague that we have, COVID-19, where does it come from? No one even can explain that. The world full of challenges at the moment. But our job, say Rabbi Avraham Chaim Mizlotov, that is still to hang on. Although that we have such difficult challenges, and sometimes we see things that we don't understand, continue believing in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, continue doing the mitzvot, observing the mitzvot, learning Torah, that will do a great pleasure to HaKadosh Baruch Hu up in heaven. Great nachas, great happiness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now I'm going to move to the word Eikev. Eikev, it's mean in the end, and we have to understand what it's mean in the end. But Eikev also in Hebrew mean Akev. Akev, it's mean a heel, the heel of the legs, you know, the heel of a person. And I saw a beautiful commentary that brought by Rabbi Haim ben Attar. And Rabbi Haim ben Attar, born in a city of Sali in Morocco 325 years ago, he wrote a book that's called Or HaHaim HaKadosh. It's a commentary on all the Torah. And he said that Ve'aya Eikev, that will be a simcha. You know when is the simcha going to be? In the end. And he said, you know what it means to the end that I'm referring? I'm referring to the heel. But he said that a matter of fact, that will be a simcha up in heaven, you know when? When a person going to be humble and human. When a person going to be humble. And immediately we all have to understand what is the connection that Rabbi Haim ben Attar telling us regarding the end of days, okay, and happiness and humbleness. I saw a beautiful commentary in the book Imre Noam that's written by, quite often I bring the commentary from there. It's from Arav Yoram Abargel, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha. And in his book, he said a beautiful, beautiful commentary, bring a beautiful commentary. And he says that when a person that is humble, he doesn't feel that when people doesn't give him the same yichus that he wants, the same respect that everyone else wants. So sometime in shul, people ignore him. Or when they give him the aliyah, they didn't give him the right teriram, that means the right ana. No. Or sometimes when they refer to him, they don't refer to him like he should. And certain people get horrible. He said, but when a person is humble, in any case, he doesn't care. Because why? Because a person that humble quite often think that he is not above everyone. As a matter of fact, sometimes he thinks that he's even less than certain people. He said that when a person is humble, he doesn't get upset if people didn't respect him, if people didn't refer to him with the right ana, if people didn't give him the right yichus to make him so happy, to make him so obligated. What does it mean? He say like this. He said, because a humble person anyway thinks that he's nothing. So it doesn't make a difference to him. If they respect him or doesn't respect him, he doesn't have faribul. He's always happy. And that's what he come to say. He said, V'haya Eikev. You want to be happy in your life? Now he explained the words that Rabbi Haim ben Attar said. You want to be happy in your life? He said that the Torah come to him to us. If you're humble and it doesn't bother you, that if people giving you the right yichus and they didn't look after you or didn't refer to you properly, it doesn't bother you. You're always going to be happy. But lehavdil, if a person that is arrogant, he wants people to respect him. When they refer to him, to refer to him with kavod, with the yichus. He said that person will never be happy because whatever you give him, it's not enough. Because always he thinks that he needs more. But the humble person, that he thinks himself, he's the lower person. He always happy. He doesn't need more. He doesn't need yichus. He doesn't have faribul. Why? Because I'm a simple person. What do I need? And that's what it means, v'haya Eikev. That means that the Torah come to teach us. You want to be happy in your life? One of the tools is to be humble. And Chazal in the Mishnah, Masechet Avot tell us, Ezehu HaSameach. Chazal say, who's the person that, a rich person, HaSameach behelko, that happy with what he have. If you have 10 million or you have 1 rand, he's happy. Why? Because he knows that that's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu given it to him. And then he's happy. The same, the humble person. He's always happy. Why? He doesn't have faribul. And that's what the Torah come to teach us, Rabotai. The Torah come to teach us something very important. A person that is humble, He doesn't think that he's better than anyone. He doesn't think that he deserves yichus. So it doesn't make a difference to him. If you've given it to him or you didn't give it to him, he's always happy. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all be happy. We should all be happy, Be'ezrat Hashem, and we should all be humble so we can be happy. Let's continue in the verse, and then it says in the verse, Ushmartem va'asitem otam. Ushmartem, that you should observe them, and you should do them. What it means, otam? If you look the word otam in the Torah, if you look, it's written with a missing vav, because the word otam, you write aleph, vav, taf, mem sofi. But in the Holy Torah, it says aleph, taf, mem. But there's a dot on the top, so we spell it otam, them. And we have to understand why is the Torah written the word otam missing with the letters vav in our verse. So the Torah, the Zohar HaKadosh, given an answer for it. The Zohar HaKadosh in Sefer Vayikra, in page 113, folio 1, and also the Hazal in the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, 99, folio 2. Tzadik Tet, yeah. Tzadik Tet is 99, 99, folio 2. Hazal explained that, and they say like this, Im tishmeru et hamitzvot, if you should observe the mitzvot, אז אתם כאילו יצרתם ועשיתם את עצמכם. What does it mean? I will translate. Hazal tell us that if a person observes the mitzvot, okay, and not only that, he observed the mitzvot, okay, and he made the mitzvot, that means he fulfilled the mitzvah, it's like he create and he made himself. How can you say that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everyone, create everyone. He said, no. HaKadosh create you as a human being. But if you want to work on your personality, on your character trait, it's only if you learn Torah. And that's what it say here. Ushmartem va'asitem otam. The latest vav missing, that it's up to us to learn Torah, to observe mitzvah. But if we learn Torah and we observe the Torah will teach us and will help us to change our personality and our character trait to be much more human. What it mean human? What then you said that the goyim not human? Has v'shalom, no. When I say more human, to be more understanding, to have more patience, because you see that there is many people that they don't have patience. There's many people that not only that they don't have patience, they lose their temper, every little thing. The Torah come and teach you, number one, to calm you down, to have patience, not to lose your temper, to have more understanding for other people, to have more compassion and mercy on other people. And that's what Hazal said, that's what the Zohar said. You know why it's missing? Letters Vav. That to create, everyone created by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Obviously, the mother and the father, they're partner. And Hazal tell us that shlosha shutafim ba'adam, 3 partners to a human being. Aviv ve'imo, the father and the mother, ve'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring on him the soul. But he said that here the Torah hinting to us, the Zohar and Hazal and the Gemara, that the word otam, missing vav, that you can only work on yourself if you study Torah. A person become a better person only if you learn Torah. To have more compassion, more compassion and mercy on people. And that's the secret of otam. That's how Hazal and Zohar HaKadosh, and in the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin Tzadik Tet Amud Bet, that means 99, folio 2. And then towards the end of the verse, Hazal tell us, V'shamar Adonai Elohecha lecha et habrit ve'et hachesed. And we have to understand, what does it mean, V'shamar lecha? We have to understand. So Hazal in the Midrash, in Dvarim, in our book, in Midrash Rabbah, in Sefer Dvarim, in chapter 3, verse 4. Listen what he says. Hazal say the word V'shamar, that means that Hazal explain on that word Veshama, and he kept, okay? Hazal say that all the prosperity and all the success that Israel have, listen to that, Rabotai, listen to that carefully. It's from the blessing of Bil'am HaRasha. Bil'am HaRasha. That means all the blessing and all the success that the Jewish people have in this world is from Bil'am HaRasha. That he tried to curse us, נכון? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned his curses to blessing. But it said, V'shamar lecha, Hazal in Midrash Rabbah say, on Sefer Dvarim, V'shamar lecha, that for the future to come, HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept for you all the blessing, okay, that your forefather bless you, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. That means all the blessing that we're gonna get, all the brachot, all the prosperity, all the success that we have in the world to come, it's because the blessing of our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. And that it means Veshamar lecha. What it means Veshamar lecha? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept all of this blessing to you when? For the world to come. In this world? No. This world, at the moment, we're benefiting from the blessing of Bil'am HaRasha. A great Hidush, huh? Now I would love to jump to verse 15. And in verse 15, it says something very interesting. Here Moshe Rabbeinu, when he speaks to the Bnei Israel, look what he says. Ve'isir Adonai mimcha kol holi, ve'chol madve Mitzrayim hara'im asher yada'ata, lo yasimam bach, untanam bechol son'echa.
Hashem will remove from you every illness and all the bad maladies of Egypt that you knew. He will not put them upon you, but he'll put them upon all your foes.
So here we say that Moshe Rabbeinu speak to Bnei Israel, and he told them that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remove from them all kind of illness, all kind of sickness, and not only that, he tell them V'kol holi, v'kol metve Mitzrayim hara'im, everything that, every sickness, every plague, whatever you want to call it, asher yadata, that you knew. What do you mean you knew? When Israel didn't know. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the 10 plagues on the Egyptian, when Israel didn't suffer. Listen to that great Hidush. What does it mean, asher yadata, that you knew? So if we look according to the pshat of the Dvarim, it's because when Bnei Israel saw the plague, for example, the plague of Dam, they saw that they had water in their dwelling, but the Egyptian in their dwelling, they couldn't have water, they have only blood. And the same with the frog, the same with the lice, and etc. That's on the pshat of the Dvarim. That they saw that there is blood for the Egyptian, and for him himself, he had water, the Jewish people said. Bnei Israel saw. That's on a pshat of the Dvarim. These, if we look deeper, the Torah wouldn't say asher yadata, that you knew. What it means asher yadata? To know. What it means to know? When someone knows, that means that he felt it. And here comes the Hidush. Listen to that. Hazal tell us something extraordinary. Hazal tell us that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the 10 plagues on the Egyptian, Rabotai, focus with me, and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for example, brought the plagues of blood, the first plague, Makat Dam. When he brought the plagues of Dam, for short time, for very short time, the Jewish people also suffer from that plague. Listen to that, I repeat. The Jewish people suffer from the same plague like the Egyptian. And immediately HaKadosh Baruch Hu took him from them without them suffering. That means, for a split of a second, when someone one person from Bnei Israel opened his tap or gone to his well to draw water, he saw in his cup blood and he turned to water, immediately gone back to water. That means that Bnei Israel, have the same plague like the Egyptian, but for the short time, and they didn't suffer from them. Said the Mefarshim, you know why? Here HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted Bnei Israel to feel what plagues he bringing on the Egyptian. That means for every plagues that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought in the Egyptian was a reason for it. Makat dam, there is a reason. Midah keneged midah, measure for measure. But he wanted Bnei Israel to understand and to feel the pain that the Egyptians suffering. Why? Because the pain that Bnei Israel suffered for 210 years, they have now to understand how HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishing the Egyptian. So how can Bnei Israel understand and feel it? Only if it happened to them. So for a very short time, they also felt it, but they never harmed from it. It didn't harm them. That means the same with Makat Sfardaim. Makat Sfardia, when it came, the frog, Bnei Israel also heard the noise of the frog, and they saw him all over the dwelling, and suddenly they disappear, and the noise disappear in Eretz Goshen. And that's what the Hazal say here. Hazal tell us that when the Torah tell us, Ve'esir Hashem mimcha kol mahala, that's every sickness, okay, and every disease, asher yadata, that you knew, that you also received those 10 plagues. But the difference is that it didn't affect you so badly, number one, and number two, no one suffered from them, from Bnei Israel. And just to add up something on it that I saw, Hazal explained, and we explained that when we learned the Haggadah Shel Pesach, Hazal there, we saw that there is a dispute among the Hazal, how many plagues that the Egyptian got. Everyone agreed that they received 10 plagues in Mitzrayim, Vebayam, one of the sages, there is 4 sages, one sage said it was Makah shel 50 plagues, then they multiply, they adding up, and until they reach 250 makot. And the Hazal asked there, why? He said that here that our sages that was sitting in Egypt, they were saying that it was 250 plagues on a sea. You know why? To tell you that there's much many more plagues that the Egyptian received, less the Jewish people have a chance to receive. Why? Because the Torah here tell us that all of those plagues that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought on the Egyptian, he will never bring on us. It means that the Jewish people will never suffer from those plagues. So how can you multiply it? By that you say that they received it. And if they received it, the Jewish people are not going to receive. That's a Hiddush that I shared with you, I think, on Pesach when we read the Haggadah. Let's move on to verse 17 and 18. And here's something for us that we should tell the chief of staff in Israel and all the people that think that we're winning war. And it's like this, כי תאמר בלבבך, רבים הגויים האלה ממני, איך אוכל להורישם? לא תירא מהם, זכור תזכור את אשר עשה אדוני אלוהיך לפרעה ולכל מצרים. בכבוד לי, 17 and 18.
Perhaps you will say in your heart, these nations are more numerous than I. How will I be able to drive them out? Do not fear them. You shall remember what Hashem, your God, did to Pharaoh and to all of Egypt.
Okay, here basically Moshe Rabbeinu said to the Jewish people that you should not be afraid from so many people in the land of Eretz Israel. You mustn't be afraid from that nation. Even that the number is much more than your numbers, that means the amount of the Jewish people, you mustn't be afraid. And not only that, remember that what HaKadosh Baruch Hu done to Pharaoh and his nation, the Egyptian, the wicked Egyptian, you don't have to be afraid. I saw a beautiful commentary that brought by Rabbi Eliezer Ashkenazi. Rabbi Eliezer Ashkenazi born 508 years ago. It's not sure where he born. I know that he born in Europe, okay? But later on, he moved to Egypt. Listen to that. He moved to Egypt. From Egypt, he moved to Greece. From Greece, he gone back to Europe. And he died, it's well known that he died in Krakow, in Poland. And he wrote a famous book. It's called Maaseh Hashem. And in his book, he said that the Torah come to teach us here something very important. He said that the Jewish people have to understand something very important, that without the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if they know that without the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they cannot win any war, they have nothing to be afraid. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu with them. But if the Bnei Israel gonna pretend, they're gonna pretend, and they're gonna rely on the tanks, on the airplane, on a submarine, or on the Navy, whatever you wanna call it, the special forces and etc., then they have a problem. Why? Then they have to be afraid. Because then HaKadosh Baruch Hu not with them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be when the Jewish people, when they know, number one, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu with them, okay? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu fighting for them. That means only then we can win. And Rabotai, I want to show you quick history. In Milchemet Sheshet Hayamim, the 6-day war, the entire Jewish people, there's not one Jewish people in Eretz Israel. Not only that, listen to that. Even in the diaspora, people was worrying what's going to happen in Eretz Israel. When we was worried and we put our trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the miracle was beyond understanding. The same with Milchemet Yom Kippur. But when we was arrogant in Milchemet, when we gone to Lebanon, we was too arrogant. And the second war of Lebanon show us that without HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can't win. We have to put our trust not in our weapon, not in our strength. Everything in the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When they give in Gaza, I remember they declare in Eretz Israel, if they just gonna start with us, we're gonna wipe them off. Today, people with balloon, with stone, look the terrorism that they do to us. And never mind the rocket. Never mind the rocket, just the balloon. How much sorrows the Jewish people suffering from those Muslims in Gaza. So it's come, say Rabbi Eliezer Ashkenazi, to teach us something very important. If you know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu with you and you don't rely on your weapon, on your string, then you have nothing to worry. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu will fight for you, the same like he fight for you where? In Egypt. But if Chas v'Shalom, you say, no, I have good weapon, I have good airplane, I have good tanks, and etc., then you have a major problem. Then you should be worried. Otherwise, you must never worry. And that's the job of the Jewish people, is to believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu with every tzorech that they have. Not only when it's come to a war, every tzorech that a person has. He say, listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I have tzorech. Why to make it your tzorech? Give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he'll solve it up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you brought it to me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you'll take it for me. That's what you must say. And every tzorech that you have, if it's health, if it's financial, but if you, obviously, everyone have to do ishtadlut. Ishtadlut, everyone have to do, his own personal, to try, but not to go ballistic about it. Let's now move to chapter 8. I'm going to start skipping now to chapter 8, verse 1. And in chapter 8, verse 1, it says like this, כל המצווה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום, תשמרון לעשות למען תחיו, ורביתם, ובאתם, וירשתם את הארץ אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיכם.
The entire commandments that I've commanded you today, you shall all observe to perform, so that you may live and increase and come and possess the land that Hashem swore to your forefathers.
Okay, so in a pshat of the dvarim, Moshe Rabbeinu tell Bnei Israel that every mitzvah that they observe and they do in the mitzvah, okay, that will help them to inherit the land of Eretz Israel, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised our fathers. But Hazal tell us, Kol HaMitzvah. What it mean, Kol? Hazal say in different Marot, in Gemara Masechet Psachim, in page 24, folio 2, in Psachim, also again in page 43, folio 2, Sukkah, in Gemara Masechet Sukkah 28, folio 2, and Megillah 8, number 2, and many more other places. Hazal said that the word Kol, en, Kol HaMitzvah, all. What it mean all? Hazal said that the word all, Kol, come to add. To add what? We have to understand what is come to add. I saw a beautiful commentary of Rabbeinu, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi. Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, it's the famous Ari HaKadosh. Ari HaKadosh, born in Jerusalem, in the city of Jerusalem, 487 years ago. And here he says something very important. He said that here the Torah come to teach us when a person do a mitzvah. For example, let's take mitzvah tefillin. That's what he brings. When you do a mitzvah of tefillin, you must do the mitzvah in completion. But I don't understand. To put tefillin, I need to do it in completion. He said yes. He said when every mitzvah that you do, that you must make sure that you're doing it completely full. For example, and he bring example. He said when a person put the tefillin, if he didn't put it on the right place on his head, and the right place is right here, by the end where the hair growing, okay? That's what it says, not like the tzdukim. The tzdukim is, I don't know how you say tzdukim in English, they put it right here, okay? Those that believe only in written Torah. And he said that when you put it on your arm, you should put it on right on the left-hand side, okay? If your right hand side, you must put it on your left. Where is the big muscle on your top part of your arm sitting, okay? And if you didn't put it there, if the tefillin of Rosh or the tefillin of Yad wasn't on the right place, the Mishnah Berurah say in Siman Kav Zayin in Seifim Daled and Lamed Gimel, that means chapter 23, verse 4 and verse 27, you didn't fill the mitzvah of tefillin. Although that you put tefillin, you didn't fulfill the mitzvah properly, and it doesn't consider like you done it. Not only that, he said that when a person have the tefillin, the straps of the tefillin must be completely black and mustn't turn. That means Hazal tell us, listen to that. And the Mishnah Berurah bring it also in Siman Lamed Gimel in Sa'if Yutet, that means chapter 33, verse 19, that if a person that the straps of his tefillin not completely black, the tefillin is psulim. What it means, pasul? Not good to wear it. That means every morning before you put your tefillin, check your straps. Are they completely black? And while you're wearing them, you must make sure that the tefillin, the straps not turn upside down, because some of the tefillin, they're different color. On one side they're blacks, on the other side they're white. You have to be careful, because otherwise, has v'shalom, if they little bit the color faded or the color moved, the tefillin is psulot. That's Mishnah Berurah, ze le'alacha. So from here we see what does it mean kol mitzvah. Every mitzvah that you do, say Ari HaKadosh, every mitzvah that a person do, any mitzvah, you must do it in complete. That means make sure that the mitzvah that you do must be completed. And that's what it say, Hazal, that wherever it say kol mitzvah, all everything is all, it's come to aid, to make sure that when you're doing mitzvot, you must do it in completion. Let's move to verse 2, and here is a beautiful push that I saw, and I have to share it with you. It says, וזכרת את כל הדרך אשר הוליכך אדוני אלוהיך זה 40 שנה במדבר, למען ענותך, לנסותך, לדעת את אשר בלבבך, התשמור מצוותיו אם לא.
You shall remember the entire road on which Hashem your God led you, those 40 years in the wilderness, so as to afflict you, to test you, to know what it is in your heart, whether you would observe his commandments or not.
Okay. Here Moshe Rabbeinu actually tells the Jewish people that they must remember the journey that there was in the wilderness, okay? And not only that, all the tests that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring on you, it's to test, are you going to observe his mitzvot or not? But what's hiding here? Again, I'm speaking about derech eretz, arrogancy. Say, I saw a beautiful commentary of Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh. He born in the city of Andripoli. Andripoli is in Turkey. He born 514 years ago. Andripoli, it's actually in the north of Turkey. It's on the border with Greece, okay? And another country, I don't remember at the moment, where is it? I don't remember. It's with Europe somewhere. And he says something important, and he actually bring the words of the Gemara in Masechet Sota in page 5, folio 1. And Hazal and the Gemara say like this. Hazal say, and he gonna link it to him. כי הגאווה מרחיקה את האדם מבוראו וחוצצת בינו לבין קונו. Hazal say in the Gemara that the arrogancy actually keep away the man, a human being, from him to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And a matter of fact, arrogancy causes a dividing between the Almighty and a human being. Say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, listen to that. He said that the Torah come and tell us, וזכרת את כל הדרך אשר הוליכך השם אלוהיך 40 שנה. What does it mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us on a wilderness for 40 years. For why? To try us. He said, if you suddenly feel that there is a little bit of arrogancy on you, a little bit of proud, that you feel proud about what you've done, you know what's the medicine? Remember the days when you have nothing. So here Moshe Rabbeinu said to Bnei Israel, if you suddenly feeling like you have this feeling of arrogancy and proud that I managed to achieve that, I built the business, I done it, I, the eye doctor, like our late Joe Brook, our friend, the late Joe Brook, Zichrono Livracha, used to say the eye doctor. Come to teach us something very important. Moshe Rabbeinu said to Bnei Israel, now you're ready to enter Eretz Israel. When you're reaching to Eretz Israel, you'll be rich. Why? Because all what you manage to receive, number one, all the wealth from Egypt that you took. Then when you conquer all the land before you enter Eretz Israel, now you're entering Eretz Israel. If you suddenly have this arrogancy, look, I have enough money, I can buy, I can do. Come, Moshe Rabbeinu, and tell us, remember the 40 years in the wilderness. Come, Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, and tell you every day. Nachon, that was 2,000 years ago. 2,000, a matter of fact, close to 3,000 years ago. Say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, to today, I have an answer for you. If you suddenly today, you can't remember when you walk in the wilderness, remember the day that you have nothing. When you come to arrogancy, if suddenly this Yetzer Hara, this evil inclination bring on you, this feeling of arrogancy, you're proud, remember one thing. Remember when you didn't have nothing. That will help you to become modest and humble. Look at that beautiful idea. When a person thinks about the difficult time, that will make him humble. And I want to share with you a story with your permission. It's nothing that I planned. It suddenly came to me while I'm speaking in a show. It was a kingdom, and a king one day was walking and he saw a person that he was a shepherd, and he was playing with his flute while he was watching the herd. And the next thing he saw, how is that shepherd look after the herd, after he makes sure that everything is secure, doesn't allow the herd to run away, so not any wild animal will, Chas v'shalom, will be a predator to one of them. And that king watched them for a while, and he saw how is he looking after that shepherd and everything. And one day he decided, you know what, I'm going to go again to that shepherd, and I want to watch him closely. And when he come closely to him, when I say closely, the shepherd didn't saw him, and the king was watching him. And he was playing the flute, and a matter of fact, from time to time, he heard him praising the Almighty. That king said, who is he praising? What is that? I need to go and speak to him. So he gone to that shepherd, and he said to the shepherd, listen, I see for a few days I'm watching you, how you're looking after all the cattle that you have, and etc. And I was very impressed with you. But tell me, I was sitting behind you, and I heard you playing the flute and praising the Almighty. And he said, yes, I was praising my God in heaven, and to say thank you to him for all what he given me. Okay. And that king was very impressed with that. And he said to that shepherd, would you mind coming and working for me in my palace? And it was a bit of conversation. In the end, I'm making the story short, the shepherd agreed. And the shepherd he was a Jewish person, obviously. You know, the Jewish people, they have a cop. Slowly, he helped the kingdom, and he brought it together. He fixed here, he fixed there. And the king saw that person is really charismatic and is good. He have his heart. Slowly, until he become the finance minister of that kingdom. And people was jealous. A shepherd suddenly become the finance minister. You know, it's caused a lot of jealousy, and people start tittle-telling and start speaking Lashon Hara. As a matter of fact, not only Lashon Hara, they spoke even Otziu Diba. And they say, you know what? That person that you all the time giving him, that Jewish person, you know, he's stealing from you. The king say, I don't listen to none of you. It's Buba Masos. And that story go like this for months and months and months, until one day the king have enough, and he said to his ministers, no problem. You say that he's stealing from me, let's go and test. They gone to his office, and the finance minister saw the king, welcome. The minister said to him, let's go to his house. Let's see his house. They go into his house, and they see a very nice house, beautiful house, looking beautiful. And they said to him, let's go and look from room to room. You'll see that he stole from me. They go from room to room, and one room he said to the king, please, your majesty, this room I prefer if none of you walk in. This room belong to me, where I sit and I daven to the Almighty. Oh, the eyes of the minister popped out. Here we hiding all the treasure of the king. He said, the king listened to them. He didn't have a choice. He said to him, please open the door. The shepherd begged him, almost crying. He said, please, no, please. This room, I don't want you to walk in. No. The king commanded him to open. So he said, your majesty, here's the key, you open. The king was so inquisitive to see, and the minister, he opened the door, and the minister, before the king even entered, they ran in, and they're looking, there's 4 walls, and in the middle of the room, there is a little chair, and there is a small bag. Oh, the minister said, inside this bag is hiding all the treasure, all the store. They're gone. They open the bag. What they see? A little flute. No one understands. They're searching. Nothing. The room is empty. Chair, little chair, small chair, a bag, and a flute. Okay? So the king wanted to understand what's happening, why he didn't want him to go in. He said, Your Majesty, when you met me, I was a shepherd. When you met me, I used to look after the flock. I used to have a flute, if you remember. He said, yes, I used to have my bag, and that's the little chair that I used to sit on from time to time. That's all what I have. He said, every time that suddenly I feel arrogancy and proud at work, when I come from work, I walk straight to that room to remind me where I was before, not to get arrogance, not to get proud. And that's why I didn't want you to walk to that room, not because I stole from you. You yourself, you know that I'm running your kingdom like I'm looking after, like I look after the herd. And that's what you took me. This room, I didn't want you to walk in because that room remind me where I came from. And that's what Al-Sheikh HaKadosh tried to tell us. That when sometimes people have money, they made money. Usually people, when they have money, Hazal tell us, Ba'al ha'me'ah hu ba'al ha'de'ah. The person that have money, he usually have to say the last word. Hazal tell us, you don't want to be arrogant. Although that you're rich, remember where you come from. And that's the moral. And that's what I love about that commentary of Al-Sheikh HaKadosh. With your permission, let's move to verse 9 in chapter 8. And the Torah tells us like this. Eretz asher lo b'miskanot tuchal b'lechem lo tehsar kol ba eretz asher avanea barzel u'meharerea tahtzov nechoshet.
A land where you will eat bread without poverty, you will lack nothing there. A land whose stones are iron, and from those mountains you will mine copper.
Okay, on a pshat of the Dvarim, we see here that Moshe Rabbeinu tell Bnei Israel that the land of Eretz Israel, it's a land that basically honey and milk. Okay, pshat of the Dvarim. But remember at the beginning we said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Bnei Israel in the merit of the three fathers, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, they merit to inherit the land, not because they merit. But we say that the Torah coming into us that also in the merit of the four mothers, okay, the merit to inherit the land. Where is it mentioned? The Gaon Hida, Rabbi Haim Yosef David Azulai, he born in Jerusalem 297. And he says something very extraordinary. He said on that verse, you must understand that Eretz Israel is a very holy land. And to learn Torah in Eretz Israel, you can reach to higher level. Avira de Eretz Israel mahkima. Hazal said that the air of Eretz Israel make you smart. And not only that, ve'enei Hashem Elohecha ba mirashit shana v'ad achrit shana. That means the eyes of the Almighty on that land from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. That's on Pshat of the Dvarim. He comes and he says something very important. He said, you know that you merit to inherit the land of Eretz Israel. You know on which merit you merit to inherit the land of Eretz Israel. Many of you think it's because only Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. He said, no. He said here the Torah hinting to us that in a merit of the four mothers, you merit to inherit the land. Where does it say? He said if you take the word Avanea Barzel, that means that the stone of Eretz Israel is iron, steel. He say, listen to what the Gaon Hida say. He said, take the acronym, take the Rashi Tevot. Rashi Tevot is an acronym of the word Barzel. Barzel, it's Bet Resh Zayin Lamed. That's mean, here you see the name of the fourth mother, how they are. Bet is Bilha, Resh Rachel, Zayin Zilpa, Lamed Leah. He say here the Torah hinting to us that also in the merit of the four mothers, we merit to inherit the land. Not only Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. That's me, that in the merit of Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and Bilha, Rachel, Zilpa, Veleah, we merit, the Jewish people merit to receive the land of Eretz Israel. That's mean we done the remez. Let's move on to verse 10, and here we speak about Birkat Hamazon, and it says like this: "Ve'achalta ve'sava'ta uberachta et Adonai Elohecha al haaretz hatova asher natan lach."
You will eat and you will be satisfied. You will bless Hashem your God, for He is for the good land that He gave to you.
Okay, so Rabotai, from here we learn halacha. What is the halacha? Rabbi Elazar Askari. Rabbi Elazar Askari, born in Tzfat 490 years ago. He was one of those students of the Ari HaKadosh. He lived during the time of the golden era with Marana Bet Yosef, Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh, the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordoviro, the Maharhu, the great tzaddikim that was. And he wrote the famous book, Sefer Haredim, like Haredi, Sefer Haredim. In chapter 12, he called it Ot Yud Bet, that means verse 12. He says something important. He said, from here you learn that there is a mitzvah, and it's a positive command from the Torah, that after a person eaten and he becomes satisfied, he obligated to say Birkat Hamazon. He obligated to bless the Almighty. And how you should say that, listen to that. You should say that loudly. Birkat Hamazon, you should say it loudly that you can hear, not to scream, loudly that you can hear. Number one, you should say it with simcha, with joy and happiness, and benahat. What it means, benahat? Comfortably. And I saw another commentary that the mystical rabbi bring, that the person that say Birkat Hamazon loudly, listen to that, loudly, comfortably, okay, and with happiness, it's a remedy for Parnasa. You want Parnasa, every one of you? Here's the remedy. That's from the Mekubalim, the mystical rabbi. Come the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh and say something extraordinary. He say something here beautifully. He say like this. He say that we know that Yoshua bin Nun, you all heard about Yoshua bin Nun. He brought Bnei Israel to the land of Eretz Israel. He constitute for us in Birkat Hamazon, okay, he constitute for us Birkat Haaretz. What it means, Birkat Haaretz? The blessing on Eretz Israel. What we say, Nodeh lecha Hashem Elokeinu al haaretz shenchalta la'avotenu eretz chemda tova uchava. You remember that? Okay. He said that, say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, that Hazal tell us in a Gemara in Masechet Brachot in page 48, folio 2, that text that Yoshua bin Nun actually constitute for us, it's not what we know. We say, Al shenchalta la'avotenu, that you inherit to our father. He said, but Yoshua bin Nun actually wrote, Al shenchalta lanu, that you inherit to us. Today we say that you inherit to our fathers. Say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh something like this. He said that when a person becomes very careful to fulfill the mitzvot, to observe the mitzvot, okay? And if we do that, we can go back to our land. But because we didn't observe the mitzvot, our fathers, and because they follow the evil inclination that led them to do whatever they done, I don't want to mention it, that we spoke on Tisha B'Av, that's what caused them to go to exile. He said, if you want to go back to the proper text that Yoshua bin Nun wrote, Shinhalta lanu, that you inherit to us, and not what we say today, Shinhalta la'avotenu, it's only if we observe the mitzvot. And that's what it says, Ve'achalta ve'savata u'virachta et Hashem Elokecha la'aretz tova. That when you eat and you're satisfied, you're obligated to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you do that? By observing the mitzvot. When you observe the mitzvot and you thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all the goodness and the abundance, then will come a day that you say in Birkat Haaretz, Al Shenhalta lanu, that you inherit to us, that you've given it to us. Speedily, please God, in our day. Let's move on to verse 19 on chapter 8, and it says, Ve'haya, im shachoach tishkach et Adonai Elohecha, והלכת אחרי אלוהים אחרים, ועבדתם, והשתחווית להם, והעדותי בכם היום, כי אבוד, sorry, I'm going the wrong verse. I'm reading the wrong verse. Verse 17, sorry, verse 17, Louis, verse 17. ואמרת בלבבך, כוחי ועוצם ידי, עשה לי את החיל הזה.
And you may say in your heart,
Louis?
my strength and my might of my hand, you in your end. No, made me
Okay, you
all
remember?
this wealth. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. You remember earlier we spoke about Rabbi Eliezer Ashkenazi. Rabbi Eliezer Ashkenazi told us that we have to remember that everything that we do, that when we go into war, HaKadosh Baruch Hu with us, I just wanted to point that means that every person have to remember that it's not our strength, it's not my power. Everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person got success on his business, it's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be success, and you have to thank him. Why? Because lo alenu, when people get sick, they can't go to work. If you can go to work, just say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you this morning for allowing me to go to work. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that I can go to work. Then your business is going to jump. Then you're successful going to start. That's what verse is. Not to take on yourself to think that Has v'Shalom, you done it. Everything is on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, let's move on to chapter 9, verse 17. Okay, and there in chapter 9, verse 17, it says, ויתפוס בשני לוחות הברית ואשליכם מעל שתי ידיי ואשברם לעיניכם.
I grasped the two tablets and threw them from my two hands, and I smashed them before your eyes.
Okay, Rabotai, listen to that hidush that you never knew. Listen to that hidush. And that hidush, when I saw it, I cannot forget. Listen to that hidush. Hazal tell us in a midrash that you all know that when Moshe Rabbeinu threw the tablets on the floor, okay, the first tablet that he brought down from heaven, he threw it on the floor and they broke. Hazal said that all the words that was there on the Ten Command on the tablet, all the words flew up to heaven. Okay? That means all the saying that was there flew up. Hazal tell us except one word, one saying. What does it say? Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho. That's complete, entire saying, stay complete full. I saw a commentary of Rabbi Aaron Friedman. Rabbi Aaron Friedman born in Ukraine in the city of Sadigora. That's how they spell it. Okay, 145 years ago. Maybe I didn't spell it well. If I didn't, you will excuse me. In his book, Dushat Aaron, The Holiness of Aaron, he wrote it. He says something very important. He says every Shabbos in Amida in Shahrit, okay, it says, Vishne luchot avanim orid beyado. Two tablets Moshe Rabbeinu brought down. He said that here, on that verse, that we don't even understand that we're saying it, that שני לוחות הוריד בידו, וכתוב בהם שמירת השבת, that means 2 tablets he brought down, and on those tablets, it's written on both of the tablets, that means the first tablet that brought and the second tablet, Shmirat Shabbat. That means that we have to understand that Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho, that you must remember the day of the Sabbath to sanctify us, that's complete sentence, stay complete. And the first tablet and then the second tablet. And that's why we say every Shabbos. And we don't even know. It's a great Hiddush because everyone intends to think that when the tablet brought completely, all the letters flew up to heaven with the holiness, obviously, but none of the sentence left. That means, Ani Hashem Elokecha, one of the first command, okay? Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim, and then you should not murder, you should not steal, blah, blah, blah. All of those 9 sentences, each letter flew up and disappeared, except one sentence. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho, that stay complete the same on both tablets. Rabbi Aaron Friedman. And that's why we're saying it, also the Midrash. I would like to conclude in chapter 10, verse 21. Let's go to verse 21, chapter 10, verse 21, Louis. Okay, and it says like this day. הוא יתהלך, והוא אלוהיך, אשר עשה איתך את הגדולות ואת הנוראות האלה אשר ראו עיניך.
Sorry, this is chapter 10, verse
21.
21. Here we are. He is your praise and he is your God who did for you these great and awesome things that your eyes have seen.
Okay, the Ramban is the Nachmanite, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman. He born in a city of Catalonia in Spain, 827. He also was a doctor, the same like the Rambam, okay, the big eagle. The Ramban says something great. He said from that verse you learn that there is a command to praise the Almighty 24/7. And he said that the person have to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything that he has. And with that, I'm going to conclude. Listen to that. He said, a person, Hayav Adam lechabed et HaKadosh Baruch Hu velo acher. He must respect the Almighty and no one else. Not only that, V'hayav le'alel et HaKadosh Baruch Hu tamid. Obligate to praise the Almighty all the time. And he said like this. He said that the person, for everything that he has, must say Baruch Hashem. Ishtabach Shemo. What it means, Baruch Hashem? Bless the Almighty. Ishtabach Shemo, praise the name of Hashem. Praise the Almighty. He's saying everything that you do that, on every success or every bracha that the person has, in his business, in his health, in Shlom Bayit, whatever he has, if he say that he must say, not if, he's obligated to say and to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said that's a positive command from that verse we learn. That means from here we're learning, and with that I'm going to conclude, that we obligate to praise and to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything that we have. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to praise, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to respect him, to honor him for whatever we get in this world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see that when we'll have mercy on us and compassion, and we'll send Mashiach Tzidkenu, and he will build the third Beit HaMikdash speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Rabotai, if you have any question, this is the question, please unmute and I'll try to answer for your question.
Hello, it's Anthony Furman. How are you?
Shalom Aleichem, Mr. Furman. How are you? It's nice to hear you. Yes.
Right, thanks. It says Ve'achalta v'savata barachta, and that we learned Birkat HaMazon. What about Borei Nefashot and Ala Mechia? Is that also from Ve'achalta v'savata? That we say Borei Nefashot and Ala Mechia?
No. There's a difference.
Where does that come from?
Well, I will explain. ואכלת ושבעת. מה זה ואכלת ושבעת? On everything that you eat and you got satisfied, okay, satisfied and you're full, you're obligated to say ברכת המזון, okay? To thank הקדוש ברוך הוא. When it's come, for לדוגמה, a person eat מזונות. Hazal constitute for us, it's a rabbinical, okay? Listen to that. It's a rabbinical decree that if the person eats kazait, what is kazait? 28 grams. Let's turn it, I want to round it to 30 grams. A person eating 30 grams of mezonot, obligate to say ala mihya. You understand?
Right. Yes.
Although that he eat kazait is 30 grams. 30 grams, it's not necessary that satisfies you. You might not going to be full. Hazal come and tell us that you're obligated for that mitzvah. You understand?
Yes.
But the mitzvah from the Torah is when you eat and you're satisfied, only then you have to bless. But Hazal come and given us a mitzvah de Rabbanan. What is mitzvah de Rabbanan? Rabbinical mitzvah. That even if you eat kazait, even if you eat 30 grams, you're obligated to say ala mihya. Is that what you're asking? I hope that I answered that.
Yes. Yes. And
You understand?
if you eat bread, bread, okay.
If you eat bread kazait, obviously that you're obligated to say birkat hamazon.
And if you eat bread,
and though that you're not full, yes.
If you eat bread and you're not satisfied, you've eaten bread but you don't feel satisfied, must you still bench?
For sure, if you eat in kazait, you're obligated. That's a rabbinical decree.
Yes. Okay.
Okay? That's
and the other
the Torah. The Torah tells us ve'achalta v'savata. What it means ve'achalta v'savata? When you eat until you're satisfied. That if someone come and said to you, listen, here is a lamb chop. No, I'm full. I can't. Thank you. Then from the Torah. But Hazal come and constitute for us, even from kazait, you're obligated to thank Hakadosh Baruch Hu. You follow?
Yes. Okay. And one other quick thing: the Rambam and the Ramban. Did they know each other? The two of them, were they close colleagues? The Rambam and the Ramban.
Okay, so the Rambam and the Ramban. So the difference between them was 70 years, close to 70 years. Then, so the Rambam lived in a city of Catalonia, and the Ramban lived in a city of Cordova, that's the big, okay? And there was both of them lived in Spain, nachon. But the Rambam, the big ego, the Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, the Maimonite, not the Nachmanite, the Maimonite, he had to fled from Egypt. And after that, he fled to, he had to fled from Spain to Egypt. For a long time, he was the doctor of the king, the Sultan. I don't know how you say Sultan, the king in Egypt. You understand? The Rambam didn't have to have all of that because the Rambam says something against the Spanish government, and that's why you have to leave, because he spoke against Christianity. You follow? Any other question, Rabotai? No. Okay, I would like to take the opportunity and to wish all of you Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Mevorechet to all of you, a great Shabbos. May please God, this Shabbos will be a great and a safe Shabbos to all of you. Once again, Rabotai, with your permission, I would like to wish our friend Ivan a long life, that may please God, it will be Arichut Yamin to you and to your family. May you never see any more sadness, and long life in the yortzeit of your mom, that it's 1 year, the time just flew by. And also obviously to your aunt, Shulamit Bat Yaakov Reuven. And please God, that this shiur that we given will be Aliyat Neshama to Daniela Beila Bat Yaakov Reuven. But please God, wishing you all on behalf of me and behalf of all the people in this shiur, wishing you a long life. May you never see any more sadness. Ivan.
Thanks, Rabbi. Shabbat shalom. Toda rabba.
Good luck, Ivan.
Everyone,
Yeah.
please see
Yeah,
you
Wish you-
Thank you.
all the best. Good night.
Thank you,
Shabbat
Rav. Thank you.
Thank you,
Shabbat
Rob.
shalom.
Thank you very much.
to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.